So today we're talking about how to launch your subscription business. To me, this is a really interesting topic because we get to take an idea and we're gonna trace that idea all the way to launching that idea and generating revenue for your subscription business, and using that revenue to do interesting things like getting custom packaging and early stage customer acquisition and that type of thing. Before we jump into that, though, meet us. That's me on the left hand side. My name's Jesse. I've been doing subscription commerce for about 6 years now. My first successful subscription business was Conscious Box, founded in 2011, which was a healthy natural product subscription. We delivered healthy natural product samples every month to people's doorsteps and helped them discover the best of the planet every month. Most recently, I'm working on a business called Prosperly. It's a farmer's market in a box type of thing, and we work with a lot of small artisan businesses, especially from the Pacific Northwest. And so these days, I'm working with Subscription School and CrateJoy. And Subscription School is an awesome resource. If you haven't heard of Subscription School before, well, I guess number one, I'm not sure how you got to this webinar, but if you haven't actually explored it, take some time to check out subscriptionschool.com. We've got a lot of really great resources for you there. Everything from customer acquisition to packaging and product development to customer service to general ideas about entrepreneurship and leadership stuff. So it's a great resource to kind of get some chops as a business owner and also get some specific resources for running subscription businesses. Like I mentioned, this webinar is being recorded. It's going to be available in the video section of Subscription School. If you enjoy this webinar, we have a lot of webinars this month. This will be our second of 5. And you can go to the webinar section of Subscription School and you can RSVP for all of them. They're all totally free. All of them will be recorded. All of them will have free downloadable resources. And this is just a great resource for anybody who's trying to start a subscription business and needs a little bit of support. And if you do feel like you need support, I really, really encourage you to check out our Facebook group. It's facebook.com/groups/subscription school. And in that group, we have about 1,600 business owners who are all running subscription businesses, all from different stages. I mean, we have people who have thousands of subscribers. We have people who have 2 subscribers. We have people who are just getting their idea down. It's an awesome group for a couple different reasons. Number one, because you get exposure to a bunch of different type of information, and you get to see what other people are doing, and you get to hear their struggles. But even more importantly, when you have something that you're struggling with, you can post it in there. People will give you tons of feedback. We have people posting questions about their design and how to market certain things every day, and the community is just so awesome to be a part of, and everybody in there is super positive and is more than happy to give you their advice. Of course, we have our own Facebook page, facebook.com/subscription school. Head there, like it. That's how you'll get the most recent updates from us. We also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/subscription school. And of course, if you have any questions about CrateJoy functionality and about how to use that platform, the best resource to go to is the CrateJoy knowledge base. It's forum.cratejoy.com. And of course, we have the support team in CrateJoy that I'm looking and waving at right now. Hi guys. It's an awesome team of people who are here for our merchants. And so if you have questions about how to do certain things, direct them to the CrateJoy support team. They're totally here for you. Really quick, I just want to show you guys this. This is the group. As you can see, I mean, people will post, basically anything, what about packing lists? The people start to share their packing list examples. They'll show what their redesign conversion rates are changing, their ideas for packaging. People give feedback on that. So definitely check this out. And it's a closed group, so if you do request to join, by the end of this webinar, I'll go through and I'll approve everybody, and by being part of this webinar, you guys will totally get access. This is the Subscription School site. If you're wondering, this recording will be in this section, the video section up here, and that's where you can see all of our past webinars. So everything from trademarks and copyrights to fulfillment to how to get your early 25 subscribers to Google Analytics to custom packaging to reducing churn to product sourcing. There's a lot of really good content here, and so if you have lots of questions as we leave this webinar today, make sure to make use of this resource. Okay, so let's jump into this. Just close these things out, and just I noticed we got a new group of people in here already. If you do ask questions throughout the webinar, I'm going to reserve about 20 minutes at the end to answer all those questions. So if we go over stuff and something's confusing, just go ahead and type it in. You can ask as many questions as you want, but just be aware that it'll take me 30 minutes or so to get through this content, and then we'll spend about 15-20 minutes answering your questions directly. So the overview today is some early action items, how we're getting started with this business. I'm going to give you guys a couple steps to a quote-unquote official launch. It's going to be everything from getting your early adopters to nurturing those leads to understanding what benchmarks you need to be hitting to understand if your idea is a good one and if you're targeting the right people. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an assignment today, something for you to do as soon as this webinar is over. And hopefully by the time this webinar is over, you feel like you've got some good information and you're ready to go forward with your business. The first step is starting a free trial with CreateJoy. The reason why I suggest this is not because we just like to, shill CreateJoy in the webinar, but because I think it's really useful for someone to get kind of a hands-on feel of the tool that they'll be using to build their business. Now, you might not use CreateJoy. I personally think it's the best option currently available, and I've built everything from static sites using PayPal to custom Magento sites to Chargeify WordPress integrations to CreateJoy sites. So I've been a part of many different projects, and I think that in terms of a one-stop shop, super great solution, CreateJoy is by far the best. I mean, they've got a designer in there. We have subscription management tools in there. You can manage coupons. You can ship directly from CreateJoy. It's a really nice all-in-one solution. And if you're not super tech savvy like me, and you're not a developer, it makes it really easy to make a beautiful website and get support from a team who knows exactly what you're dealing with. The support team at CreateJoy is well versed in subscription businesses. This is what they do. So start a free trial. If you do start a free trial, make sure that when you're going to that sign up page to list subscription schools of people who sent you. That's just as helpful for us to understand where our traffic's coming from. Just tell them that we sent you. You can choose subscription school or webinar. Either one really works. But let us know how you got to us. It's really interesting information for us to see. Okay, so let's start to talk about this here. The launch. It's a multi-step process. Now, the reason why I like to spell this out as a multi-step process in the beginning is because you might ask yourself, I want to launch this business like yesterday. I want to build a subscription business. I want to get hundreds of subscribers, thousands of subscribers. I want to get this, recurring revenue developed as quickly as I can. You can definitely do these types of businesses over a weekend. I've done that before. It's not impossible, but there are a couple benefits of stringing out your launch over a 2-month, 3-month period that can set you up for greater success down the line versus just getting a product to market really quickly. And there's a couple reasons why I suggest this. The first one is to validate your idea. Everybody thinks that they have a great idea, and most of the time we do have pretty cool ideas, but what you think is a great idea might not be what your target market thinks is a great idea, or what your mom says is an awesome idea might not actually be as awesome as she's telling you. So the idea here is by doing a multi-step launch process, one of the things that we can get is actually real validation. We can look at conversion rates. We can look at the amount of signups we get. We can start to generate some feedback for ourselves, and we can actually see what people think about it. This isn't only going to validate our idea, but it's also going to specifically test the product market fit. So we have an ideal set of customers or subscribers, right? And you think to yourself, oh, my subscribers probably look like this. They think like this. They live in these types of households. By doing a multi-step launch process, you can test that assumption. You can see, is that really your target customer? Is that really your target subscriber? And you can get feedback from those people, and maybe it turns out that it's not that. Maybe it's a slightly different demographic. Maybe it's, in a different part of the country than you assumed. As you're doing this, one of the other cool things that you can do is you can start to build anticipation. So while you're building a list of leads, those people are going to get more and more excited as time goes on. There's certain ways that you can nurture those leads, keep them interested, keep them excited, keep them engaged, and even have them engaging with their own friends and family and pushing traffic to you. And that type of anticipation creates something really cool called what I like to call the founding member marketing army, and that's something that we're going to go into a little bit later. But it's a way to build a community around your idea before you have a product that can really greatly accelerate your launch, and add a lot more kind of social validation to it, which can help with conversions of people who haven't been a part of your launch. So building anticipation is a great perk. And I think the most important part of doing the process like this is you can generate revenue to fund your business. People always, kind of say one of the biggest things I'm worried about is just, can I afford this? Is it going to cost me a lot of money to launch a subscription business? It can, but if you do a multi-step launch process and generate a bunch of anticipation, number one, you're going to give yourself a lot of good data so you can make the right assumptions for how many boxes and how much product you need to order, and you can use that for an estimation of revenue. You can create an assumption around how many people you think are going to sign up to your box. It creates a lot more stability and predictability in your cash flow, and you can use that revenue to do cooler things like get custom packaging, do cool customer acquisition ideas early in the beginning. So before we jump into this, I want to ask you guys a question. And it looks like some people said they're dropping out and the audio is choppy. Let me know if you guys can hear me all right. Maybe just one or two of you just say yes or no really quick. I want to make sure that you guys can hear me. I'm going to launch a poll really quick. Oh, looks like we got a couple people who said yes, sounds good. Okay. Alrighty, I'm going to launch a poll, and I want to find out, have you tried starting a business before? Have you ever launched a business? It could have been, lemonade stand, or it could have been a full-fledged e-commerce business. I'm just interested to hear, where are you guys at? And it kind of gives me a better idea of, what information to go more in depth with and what information to kind of skim back over. I'll leave this up here for about 10 more seconds. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this. 3, 2, 1. All right. I'll share these results with you guys so you can see where everybody else is at. Looks like a lot of people have. Almost 3 out of 4 of you have started a business before, and that's awesome. That's great to hear. I'm definitely interested to learn a little bit more about that and kind of learn a little bit more about where your experience is coming from. It looks like you guys are leaving some comments here. So Laura mentioned she got a franchise, so no real launch. But that's great. And Jenny, no worries. If you gotta dip out, like I said, this whole thing will be recorded, so that will be up on Subscription School. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep pushing through this. Let me close this here. So let's present. The first step to this multi-step launch process is what I like to call the teaser or the pre-launch phase. So I call this the pre-launch phase. Some people call this a soft launch. Some people call this a teaser. There's a bunch of different words for it. I call it a pre-launch because it just makes more sense to me. But number one, this step is optional. You don't have to do this, but I really suggest doing it for some of the reasons I just mentioned. When you're getting to this teaser, this pre-launch phase, there's some certain things that you probably need to have in place before you actually launch your pre-launch page. This would include branding and logo, some good marketing copy, and a voice. Product development, I think, should be at about 80% or so. What this means is basically you should have your idea. You should know what you want to sell people. You should know the personality behind that brand, and you should have a pretty good understanding of what that product is actually going to look like. What are the contents of that? What's going to be the product offering? Is it like 3 pieces of food, a beauty item, and then something else? Is it going to be 4 dog treats and then a dog toy? Is it going to be 4 handmade snacks or something like that, or homemade snacks? So have a good sense of what your product is going to be. Get that at about 80%, and that's when you can feel pretty good about getting your launch page up. The nice thing about the launch page is you can come back to it, you can revise it, you can edit it, you can test new things, you can see how that affects your conversion rate. So there's no need to have this stuff 100% perfect. And I'm going to show you some examples of what this looks like. and how this has changed over time. But mainly, you want to have a pretty good sense. You don't want to do a total pivot during your pre-launch. You don't want to be going from selling a dog subscription box to selling artisan beauty items. Like you give yourself a pretty straight focus on what your product is going to be. The goals of this first phase is mainly that first thing that we mentioned, validating your idea. Let's make sure that the idea that we have is actually something people want to buy and subscribe to. Remember, we're talking about subscription businesses. We're not just talking about normal e-commerce or brick and mortar type of sales. This is going to be something that people turn on and they get renewed for every single month. So you've got to really validate the assumption that people want to subscribe to this type of product. Early in this phase 2, you could experiment with marketing. You're going to get an idea of how well you market and also how receptive your community is to the concept of your product. So the different phrasing, the different value propositions, the different colors and text even that resonates with the brand that you're developing and the product and the market that you're trying to or the demographic that you're trying to market to. These experiments that you're doing early on are going to not only inform changes during your pre-launch, but also inform all your future marketing and give you a lot of good understanding about how to pitch your idea cohesively. During this phase 2, we're going to be collecting initial interest. We're going to be building that anticipation, and we're going to be building a list of leads. We're going to be building ourselves a list of email addresses that we can then market to. We can survey, we can just do testing with. It gives us a source of people that we can say, what do you think about this and what do you think about that? So you might be wondering, okay, this sounds great, but what does it actually look like? This is an example of a pretty solid landing page. This is a real business. It's called YOGI Surprise. It's a yoga-inspired monthly surprise, or a yogi-inspired monthly surprise. And I like this page for a couple different reasons, and I'm gonna kind of go top to bottom here. As you can see, Yogi Surprise has got a pretty completed brand, a professional-looking logo. It's not some crazy, super intricate icon, but it carries across a feeling. It feels like it's its own brand already by the text they've chosen, the little exclamation point and the Y. It feels complete. The tagline is describing what it is. It's a nice short little tagline, a yogi-inspired monthly surprise. Below that, we have one sentence, a reason to care. So whether you're a wellness enthusiast or a seasoned yoga master, Yogi Surprise is the perfect complement, which should be spelled with an E, to your healthy lifestyle. Super simple text, right? They tested out what is going to resonate with their potential subscribers. A wellness enthusiast, a seasoned yoga master. They pictured their audience and they said, this could be for people who wish they were doing yoga and they like every single yoga post on Instagram, but they've never even done a downward dog. Or it could be that person who runs a yoga studio. So by phrasing both of those things in this pitch, they appeal to a wide audience of people who could be interested in this type of niche. Below that, we have a call to action. Get invited. And below that, we have a really cool incentive. Win a lifetime subscription. A couple things about this page. Yogi Surprise actually ended up changing their tagline. So it went from a yogi-inspired monthly surprise to a yoga retreat in a box. I think that's really interesting for one of the reasons I just mentioned before. Is this was a completed professional brand with smart people behind it, and they understood. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Sorry. And they understood that this is a fluid stage. This was something that they tested and they determined their own tagline later down the line. That's totally fine. I want to really reiterate that you don't have to have everything perfect when you do your pre-launch. Also, what's really cool about this page is look at the picture in the background. I mean, I always get questions, they say, Jesse, do we need to have products? Do we need to have where am I supposed to get my box and all my products to do my pre-launch page? You don't need a picture of a box with products in it to do your pre-launch. This is a perfect, it's a niche-oriented photo. We've got, a girl who looks like she's probably their target demographic. She's not even doing yoga. She's just kind of sitting there in a, cross-legged, just kind of like a feel of a yoga environment. It's culturally, it fits the idea of the brand, and it's really easy for them to appeal to that with just this image and without having to go through the problems of getting a custom box printed and et cetera, et cetera. So I thought this page was really great. It converted at about 18%. So about 1 in 5 people who hit this page ended up giving them their email address. Here's another example. This is a business that I currently operate with my brother. It's called Prosperly. This is a launch rock page. You can see here, similar thing. We've got a semi-completed brand. It's really just a typeface brand mark. I have a little tagline here: "Food Friends Thought." We have this incentive up here at the top: join today for 10% off your subscription for life. We've got a short tagline: ingredients for a happy life. We have this brief description. It's a little bit longer than Yogi Surprises. You can see here we have 1, 2, 3 sentences really. Welcome to Prosperly, your monthly surprise for body and mind. Every month you'll discover artisan crafted delicacies, handmade bath and body essentials, and inspiring ways to have fun with friends and discover new ideas. A lot more long-winded. We have the same thing, an incentive and a low commitment. The low commitment is just their email address. We're only asking them for their email. Hey, would you be interested in this idea? Yes or no. Join today, receive 10% off for life. This page, you can see we've kind of got some commanding colors. This orange background, that's the semi-completed brand. Here you can see we've got some products in the background, right? It's a little bit different of a look than Yogi Surprise, but there's still no box being shown. Similar to Yogi Surprise, my tagline changed from ingredients for a happy life delivered to a farmer's market in a box. The incentive on this page, I eventually changed it to win a lifetime subscription. That converted a lot better for me. And both those things, and you can see here the call to action here is go. It's different from get invited. This page converted actually at about 22%, so a little bit higher than the Yogi Surprise page. I actually think the Yogi Surprise page looks better, but this page, it could have been my targeting. I might have just had a better target market fit, and that's one of those things that we're looking for in this page. Either way, though, it was pretty effective. We had a high conversion rate. I was able to test my branding. I was able to test some of my marketing stuff, and then I reacted to those things, and I changed them throughout my pre-launch to increase that conversion rate and get a better idea of how I should be pitching this. Food Friends Thought. You can even see I had 2 taglines here, and I don't really use either one of these. So it's a very malleable phase. Like I said, this is a time of learning. This is when you're going to get a good sense of what's working and what's not working. Here's a third example. This one is, unfortunately, I don't know the conversion rate of this one, but this launch, Harry's, is puts these 2 launch pages to total shame. So Harry's, if you haven't read about it before, check out Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week blog post on Harry's. This page got something like 120,000 email signups and went totally viral. But you can see here, essentially, we're talking about the same thing, right? We've got some early branding. You can see they've got this little H on the razor. Harry's is coming. A reason to care, respecting the face and wallet since right now. It's almost got a little personality right there, right? It's got this kind of unique feel to it. We have the incentive down here, be the first to know. So interesting with them, they're not offering a 10% off. They're not offering a lifetime subscription. They're just saying be the first to know. Another simple call to action, step inside. They're only asking for their email address. This, like I said, got 120,000 emails or something like that. Harry's right now is competing with Dollar Shave Club, with Gillette Shave Club. It's a very, very big subscription business now, and this is the launch page that got them there. If you're looking for some resources to get started on this, there's a couple different places that I can send you. SumoMe is available through CrateChoice, so if you're looking for lead generation and you've already launched, get an opt-in built on your website, start to gather those emails. If you haven't launched yet, other launch pages outside of LaunchRock, which can be super finicky and a total pain in the butt to work with. That's what I use to build Prosperly, and that's what Yogi Surprise was built on, was LaunchRock. But if you're looking for alternatives to that, there is Rocket Labs, there's Unbounce, there's Instapage. You could build a launch page using WordPress even. It depends on how tech savvy you are, if you've got a developer on your team, that type of thing. Also, CrateChoice, there's a pre-sales campaign option. It's called, I believe it's Celery is the app, and the theme is, I can't remember what the theme is called. Sorry, I should know that. But you can do a pre-sales campaign using CrateChoice, so you can actually start to collect revenue during this time. I think that pre-launches are more effective because you're not asking for you're not asking for any revenue, you're just asking for an email like these three are, I think that your conversion rate will be much higher. So I suggest that you do a pre-launch. But really cool, I was just talking to one of our engineers yesterday, and he's working on a pre-launch pages. So they're going to be super easy to style pages that look just like this, and they're going to be available hopefully very soon with CreateJoy. I have been doing this webinar for a couple months now, and I've been saying this for a couple months. And last time I did this one, I actually decided not to say that because I didn't know when we were actually going to do it. And now it sounds like we're going to do it pretty soon. So if you are a couple weeks out from your pre-launch, keep working on your product. Come back to CreateJoy in a couple weeks, and you might have a solution with that. It's going to be a lot easier to build than LaunchRock. MailChimp is where you're going to be importing your email subscribers. So when people drop their emails in your landing page, where do those go, right? Like, what's the next step? You've got to upload those things to something that's going to be managing those emails and that you can market those emails in. I use MailChimp. There's a lot of other options, Intercom, Emma, Campaign Monitor. There are tons of options for email marketing services. I think MailChimp is super simple. They've got templates, drag and drop designer. Like I said, I'm not a developer, so I like that type of thing. They have automations. They have analytics that you can look at from your campaigns. It's a nice way. And if you do end up using LaunchRock and you're trying to figure out how to integrate MailChimp with LaunchRock, let me just tell you right now that they don't integrate. So you'd have to manually download your list of emails and then manually upload it to MailChimp. If you want to read more about how to create a LaunchRock page, head over to Subscription School. And there is a guide here. Just go to search. We'll type in pre-launch, and it'll give you a little bit more. It's called setting up pre-launch for your subscription business, and it goes into a little bit more detail about how I built this page. It gives you another list of these other alternatives, specifically how to work through LaunchRock and to build this page. Some suggestions for early marketing, which we're about to get into as well. So these are the options. There's a bunch of different other options too. This is definitely not the full picture of how you can create a launch page. But I think with these tools, you should have a pretty good start. Also, I just want to let you guys know I do see a bunch of questions coming in. Like I said, we'll get to those in about 10 or 15 minutes here. Once we get to the rest of this content. The rest of this content will be a little bit lighter than what we just went over. So step one, getting traffic and lead nurturing. So how do we actually get people to our landing page, right? There's a couple things that you can do, and I would preface this with saying try to not spend any money on it. You want to try to hone in on your target market yourself. You can, of course, if you have the budget to, run a Facebook ad. I'm not saying don't do that, but if you're bootstrapping it and you're scrappy and you want to have a lean startup, and that's the way I like to run my businesses, then I suggest using free methods to get traffic. That can include niche blogger outreach. That can include Instagram ambassadors and social influencers, and then other organic methods via social media. So I'll go through these a little bit more in detail. Niche blogger outreach would be something like, let's take the examples of Harry's, right? We have a razor company. Let's find 15 or 20 different people who we think would have the right demographic, some manly men YouTubers, some manly men blogs, some some people who maybe even have worked with Dollar Shave Club who we know who have performed well for them. Let's reach out to them and say, hey, we're launching a new business. We think your audience would love this. We would love to send you a box once we launch if you'd be willing to give us a shout out, and we're giving away a free lifetime subscription. Maybe we can do something special with your audience where we give them a free box or something like that, or whatever incentive you want to give them. Get creative with it. You can use that type of incentive with them to encourage them to give you that shout out, or do a post about it, that type of thing, to announce your launch. If it seems hard to do that, I think it's just a matter of a conversion rate. Sometimes you'll get people who say, hey, come back to me when you launch. That's when I'll promote you. Other people will be like, yeah, I'll shout out your lunch. No problem. I'll tweet about it. I'll post on Instagram about it. So just keep that in mind. Some people say yes. Some people say no. I wouldn't expect 100% conversion rate when you're doing your pre-launch. That's similar to Instagram ambassadors. Look for people who have different channels or different sources of following that will fit into your niche. Reach out to them, give them that same pitch. Say, hey, this is great for your audience for these reasons. I love to create this incentive for you to give us a shout out. That can push a lot of traffic to your landing page. And that'd be an easy way, really quick, to see if that target demographic that they have is the right fit for your product. If you get like 2,000 people to your list or to your landing page one day, and it converts at like 40% or something crazy, you can know, like, dang, that blogger has the perfect audience. Let me drill into that audience. Let me look at their Facebook page. Let me look at their Instagram. Let me go follow everybody that follows them on Instagram. And that kind of gets us into these organic methods. Using Instagram, going through hashtags, liking pictures, following people, commenting on posts, getting on Twitter, liking people's tweets, retweeting things, getting on Pinterest, making a bunch of Pinterest boards, following people on Pinterest, repinning, pinning your own photos. All of these things that you can do for free as just a kind of content-oriented or niche-oriented social media strategy, that actually will all generate traffic for you. Most of the traffic that I generated for my lead page with Prosperly was done with these organic methods. I didn't spend any money during that launch. Well, actually, that's not true. I might have spent like $50 on Facebook ads. But the vast majority, like 98% of my traffic, came from free organic methods via social media. Things have changed a little bit since then. We got new Instagram algorithms. You know what I mean? There's like different things that you can do. You can now promote stuff on Pinterest. There's different ways to do it, but I would suggest trying those things out, seeing what kind of traffic that you can generate, and seeing what that converts at. During this time, you want to keep your leads warm. So as you're getting this list of emails, you don't want to just get their email and then email them in 2 months and say, hey, the product's ready, buy it. You want to stay in communication with your leads the whole time. So, once a week, maybe twice a week, give them updates. These updates can include sneak peeks. They can include sneak peeks of your packaging. They could include just updates from the team, like you just waving from your desk saying, hey, everybody, thanks for signing up. Here's what we're working on. They can include reminders about your contest if you're having a contest. They can include reminders to follow you on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, etc., etc. You can get really creative with the different call to actions you have, but basically the idea is this. Let's just make sure that my name, Jesse, is showing up at the top of their email at least once a week, so it stays top of mind. With the right communication and the right type of call to actions, and that anticipation that they had when they first joined your mailing list is going to compound over time. They're going to get more excited. They're going to see those sneak peeks and be even more interested in getting in on that launch and telling their friends and family about it. Keeping your leads warm and nurturing them in that fashion is what's going to be creating momentum for you down the line. And like I mentioned about the founding marketing army, that's what's going to make that army really powerful. So during this stage, there's a couple benchmarks I want you to have. I would suggest limiting yourself to 1 or 2 months. If you have a crazy awesome launch and 3 weeks in, you have 50,000 emails, by golly, just launch your business. But with a 1 to 2 month, 16-day max or so, I think it's going to give you enough time to really test out your idea and get yourself a good list of leads. I always say aim for 2,000 to 5,000 emails. The more the better, obviously. And what I always hear is, why so high? Why do you tell us to get so many emails? That's not practical. Number one, it is practical. You can do it if you have enough time and energy to put towards this idea. If you're working full time and a half and have 2 kids and you're going to school and you can only spend 3 hours a week promoting your idea, I don't think you're going to get to 2,000 leads. But aim high. So if you end up with 1,000 emails, you've still got a good amount of people. You don't have to. That's not like a benchmark that you have to hit. If you don't hit 2,000 emails, it doesn't mean that you're going to fail. It just means that you're going to have a smaller launch than you would otherwise have. And we'll talk about conversion rates of these numbers down the line too. The visitor to pre-subscriber conversion rate, though, should be probably 10 to 20% minimum. This is the amount of people who hit this page and then give you their email, right? And I suggest 10 to 20% minimum because I think that's what's going to be indicative of a really good idea, and that's going to be indicative of a type of pre-subscriber who's likely to subscribe to your product down the line. If you go to LaunchRock and you searched what their good conversion rates are, they'll say 7-8%. That's pretty good. I mean, when you look at standard e-commerce rates, it might be around 2, 3, 4% if you're doing it really well. So a conversion at 8% is not bad for a pre-subscriber campaign or a pre-launch campaign. But I just feel like if you're getting at 10 to 20% or higher, you are really hitting your product market. Excuse me, you're really hitting the right target market. You're doing a good job marketing. Your message is compelling to that audience, and that's a good indicator that you've got a good idea. And like I said, the goal here is to validate your idea. If you're looking at a 2% conversion rate on your pre-launch campaign, maybe you need to go back to the drawing board. Is it something with your branding? Is it something more fundamental about your product? Is it something more fundamental about your pitch? That's going to be the useful data. And if you extend this to do 3-4 months because you're getting that conversion rate from 2% to 15%, that's worth it. So set that benchmark for yourself. Okay, so we got about 25 minutes left in this webinar. I'm going to power through this stuff right now. So step 2 is the formal launch in your early sales. So the formal launch occurs on the day that you end your pre-launch campaign. So we just spent 60 days gathering emails. Now it's time to actually take subscribers. So during that 2 months of doing your pre-launch, assuming that you got some strong validation, you should have been doing a couple different things. You should have been doing that list building and nurturing. Obviously, we just talked about that. During this time, you should have, maybe a month into your 2-month campaign, you should have started focus on website design, starting understanding your billing system. You've started that trial with Cratejoy. You've spent some time understanding how you're actually going to be operating this business. Also, you should start looking at some early product choices. What am I going to have in my first month's box? Maybe I'm going to plan out my first 3 months of boxes. Maybe you spent some time on packaging. What's your packaging going to look like? What is this design going to look like? During this phase, there's a couple goals that you have to really hit. The first one being converting that anticipation that we talked about into actual revenue. So let's say we walked away with 2,000 emails. It's time to get those 2,000 emails into X number of subscribers. This early conversion is before you spent any money on products. It's before you've shipped any boxes. You've turned your Cratejoy site on, and now you're collecting revenue and you're shipping boxes in 2 or 3 weeks from then. And so that 2 or 3 weeks before you ship your first box is when you're collecting all this revenue to pay for your packaging, to pay for shipping, to pay for month 1 items. When I was launching Prosperly, the only thing I came out of pocket for was the packaging. And when I did that, I'm not suggesting you guys get yourselves in debt, but I just put that stuff on a credit card, and because you have to put a box order in before you ship. Obviously, it takes like 2 or 3 weeks usually for custom packaging to be developed, and so 2 weeks about before I actually did my formal launch, I made that purchase because I knew that I was going to have a certain number of subscribers on my day 1, and I could count on that revenue to pay me back. And after about 2 months, I was able to break even. So, you can use those funds to pay for your business. There might be a little bit of a weird overlap, especially if you want to do custom packaging because of the timeline I just described. But for the most part, these funds should be what funds your business. Outside of converting that revenue, you're looking to build out the rest of your business. You should be looking at site updates. You should be looking at better email funnels. You should be brainstorming different lead generation ideas, new giveaways. You should be doubling back with your blogger partners and maybe setting up new things for the future. At this point, it's time to really evaluate your product market fit, and you're going to start to look at your real conversion rate. And that's what I'm going to go over in the next slide is what's the real conversion rate from visitor to pre-subscriber to subscriber. And then also here, we're assembling our founder member marketing army. The founding member marketing army is insanely powerful. The group of people who subscribe to your first month's box are very likely to be the most valuable members you'll ever have. I still have people who subscribe to Prosperly, and it's been, I guess it's been about 18 months now. This Prosperly is not necessarily the cheapest subscription. It's $45 a month. And that's a lot of money, over an 18-month period. I mean, we're talking about $600, $700, $800 of revenue paid out. But those people, they stay subscribed for a couple different reasons. Obviously, it's because they like the product and they feel like it's a great product. I think it's a pretty good product too. But also because they feel like they're part of something. They were part of that launch. They were a founding member. The coupon code they used was founder. They feel like they are kind of inherently tied to the success of the business almost. They might even feel emotionally invested in you as a person. So those founding member marketing army, getting these early emails to convert into subscribers can be super powerful for your business. So how long is this phase exactly? This formal launch phase? It can be anywhere between 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 weeks. I think it shouldn't be run for any more than 1 to 1.5 months. So if you were to open up subscribers, uh, if you were opening up sales to pre-subscribers on October 1st, your first shipment could go out on November 1st or November 16th. The main thing to keep in mind here is to set those expectations. A lot of people say, hey, is that a long time for people to wait? Yeah, it is a long time for people to wait. So make sure that when they subscribe, they understand when that first shipment is going out. In CrateJoy, it's easy to adjust people's rebilling dates and to push them into a different shipping batch. Email us, support@cratejoy.com if you need help with that. But you can open up your store, start accepting orders for 3 or 4 weeks, and start to really convert that list. And once you see that list start to bottom out, you can adjust your shipping date if you need. Like I said, make sure expectations are clear. Expectations are going to be the number one thing that drives churn and customer satisfaction. So as long as you do that properly, you only get a minimal number of complaints. I think I had about 2 people my first month who said, hey, where's my box at? And because I had super fast customer service, I emailed them within an hour and said, hey, we're launching on this date. Sorry if you missed that. Here's this landing page that explains it. Let me know if there's anything else I can do. And they were totally happy with it. The true conversion rate, I think, is if you hit the conversion rate of 10 to 20% during your pre-launch, I think you can expect a true conversion rate to subscribers of about 5 to 10% of that list. So hypothetically, if you got 2,000 emails and you had 5% of those emails convert, you can look at maybe about 100 subscribers or so. Maybe it's a little bit higher at 10%. You may be looking at 200 subscribers. It might be even a little bit higher. For Prosply, we converted at about, I think, about 14 or 15%. It was a pretty solid launch. And if you have a higher conversion rate on your pre-launch page, let's say this is at like 35%, I would expect a higher true conversion rate. And the reason why I think this is important to understand is because if 1 week before you release your store and you actually start collecting revenue, and you've been sitting there and you're looking at a 37% conversion rate on your landing page, I would expect something like a 20% true conversion rate for your actual signups. If you have to work with a vendor who needs 6 weeks lead time, tell them, hey, I've got 3,000, you don't have to tell them this, but you can tell yourself, I've got 3,000 emails. I'm converting these people converted a super high amount. Let's assume that 15% or 20% of these people are actually going to sign up. I think I can assume that I'm going to have 500 to 700 subscribers my first month. I can report that number back to my vendors, and I can make sure that they have enough supplies to give them to do that enough production. These are all loose numbers. Obviously, I can't guarantee these things, but generally these are the trends that I've seen, and I think that these are going to give you a good assumption for early purchasing. So step 3 here. Okay, so we've done the month of our launch. We opened up our store. We just collected a ton of revenue. We're sitting on like $50,000 of revenue because we converted 500 people in a super successful pre-launch campaign. I'm just dreaming right now. But the step 3, the official launch, is marked by the shipment of your first boxes. And the reason why I call this the official launch and the launch of momentum is because, newsflash, you're in business. You have a product that's out there now. You have a product that's being shipped to people's doorsteps. In a couple of days, people are going to open up a box full of products that you curated for them. First of all, take a step back and give yourself a pat on the back because you've probably worked for 3 or 4 months at this point, and it is extremely stressful. Like I said, in that subscription school group, almost every month we see someone who says, I just did my first shipment. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy that's over with. So it's a lot of work to get here, but you can't stop. This is not the time to take a break. You've got to keep that momentum up. You now have boxes, so you can use those boxes with your original influencer partners who helped you announce your official launch. Send them the free boxes. Set up new shout-outs, new reviews. Work with new influencer partners. Keep that momentum going. Make sure you've got new links coming in all the time. It's time to it's time to officially finish your site. You're going to start to get a bunch of more traffic now that you have links coming back to you and there's reviews being posted. So if you need to finish building out your mobile site, or you need to finish that opt-in or whatever it is, now is the time to do it. With the product now in hand, you can re-announce your official launch to your unconverted leads list. So if you had 2,000 people sign up and you only got 200 subscribers from it, email that other 1,800 people and say, hey, here's the first month's product. Here's what it actually looks like. And that can convert a big chunk of those people too, again, because they might have just been waiting to see what it looked like. During this time, you're going to want to do a couple of other things. Make sure you have built out your customer service solution. I suggest Zendesk. Zendesk is basically a tool that pulls in your email and lets you do cool things like filtering it and using macros. Definitely check out the Subscription School customer service section if you want to learn more about how to use customer service solutions. Great. You should have started to identify some key areas of improvement. Over the last month, you've done a bunch of converting. Where are people bouncing? Are people leaving your website when they hit the homepage? Are people leaving your website when they hit the About Us page? Is it the checkout page? And then try to derive meaning from those things. Is it because I have sticker shock? Is it because my value proposition is not compelling enough on the homepage? What is it? What is it exactly? You'll have done 1 month of packing, so you can start to optimize your operations. And depending how big your launch is, I would say consider outsourcing fulfillment as soon as possible. The resources page on Subscription School has a ton of good fulfillment options. These are basically people who pack and ship your box for you. You obviously have to pay them. Usually it's about $1 to $2 a box for packing. It's most efficient once you're around the 200 to 300 to 400 subscriber mark. So I will say that, don't try to outsource fulfillment if you've got 15 boxes you need to pack, obviously. So I know that was a lot of information. My throat kind of hurts from reading all that stuff off. But what are you waiting for? Now is the time to just do it. The cool thing about doing a pre-launch campaign, like we described, is it's low commitment, right? Like you can spend 2 months doing a pre-launch campaign, and if your idea stinks, you don't have to launch that business. That you have no one's going to think any less of you because you didn't launch it. If anything, they're going to think more of you because you approached it like a data scientist, and you said, well, I'm looking at conversion rates, I'm looking at traffic, I'm looking at what my product market fit is, and I'm making these decisions based on this actual empirical data. That's the type of business thinking that's going to lead you to success. So there's no reason not to pursue your idea. If you've got a good idea, just do it. An assignment. I want to give you an assignment. Today is not Thursday. Today is Tuesday. But it's August 16th. So on August 23rd, I want you guys to do a couple different things here. I think you should have your store set up. And when I say store set up, I mean start your Cratejoy free trial. Get your idea chosen. Have some thoughts about your first batch of items maybe. Download some resources from us. There's a bunch of great resources in the resources section. There's an influencer blogger outreach worksheet. There's a product sourcing worksheet. There's a guide on how to source products. That's usually one of the biggest questions that we have. So I like to draw attention to those things too. Also, if you join my newsletter, I send out once or twice a month the first 2 pages of my brand invitation. So when I reach out to companies that I work with, I send them a little invite. And if you go to jesserichardson.com and join my mailing list, I'll send that out to you. That's another cool resource. It's totally free. And I mean, my blog is somewhat updated, but it's just another free resource for you. So get started on this stuff. This is what's going to be your action items for the next week. In 1 week's time, on Tuesday morning, I want to see an email from you or a post in the Subscription School group that says, hey, I just created my launch page, or hey, I'm still working on my launch page. How does this look so far? Like with that Subscription School group on Facebook, don't feel like you have to have everything perfect. No one's going to judge you in there. That if it's actually better if it's not perfect. Post your progress, and we'll help you out. And I'll be there myself, and I'll leave you comments as well. So schedule a pre-launch, get that momentum going, get your idea in place, and start to pursue it. I think that's the best way to figure out if the idea that you have is going to be a good one and worth pursuing as a real business. I'm going to leave up these action item reminders on the screen as I go through some of these questions. Just in case any of you have to jump out of here in 6 minutes, I know that we're going to go a little bit over. I'm going to try to go through these really quickly. Before I go through those, I'm going to ask you guys a couple more questions myself. I want to find out two things from you. What stage are you at in launching your subscription business? I'll ask you this question first, and then I'll ask the next question. And thanks for giving me this information too. I think that this is what informs me with future presentations and future webinars, is the information you guys give me through these questions. It helps me kind of curate our content and our assignments better for you. So I'll leave this up here for a couple more seconds, and I'm going to launch one more. It won't take us more than another 45 seconds to get through these. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this. Thanks for voting on that. Let me just share the results with you. It looks like a lot of people are kind of stuck on, or the stage they're on, are just getting the early tasks done. So hopefully this stuff has been enlightening for you guys. It's cool to see a couple of people who have already launched. I hope some of the things have been useful for you in here. And I'm interested to hear your questions if you've got any for me after today's webinar. I'm going to go have these results. One more poll, and then I'll get to your questions. Thanks again for sticking with me here. So what's the biggest thing preventing you from launching this business? I'm really interested to hear, like, what is it? What's the thing that stopped you from doing this? Like, why haven't you done this a week ago? And if you have already launched, or you already started doing your pre-launch, you can even just choose like what's the biggest challenge for you. And this is always really interesting to me because there's usually one thing that always stands out as the most chosen, and it looks like for this webinar it's not going to be that choice, which is really interesting for me since it usually is always the number one choice. Okay, 5 more seconds, then I'll get to your questions, I promise. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this poll, and I'll show you these results. So usually everybody chooses financial constraints. This is awesome. I'm glad that you guys don't see that financial constraints are the biggest issue. Design and creative tasks, time and commitment. Looks like those are the two biggest things. I'm going to point you guys to two resources really quick: Skillshare or Fiverr, or even Craigslist for designing creative tasks. It's really easy to outsource that type of thing. The nice thing about the pre-launch page is, like I said, you don't have to have a bunch of crazy design stuff already done. Like you don't need to spend a lot of time making your branding perfect. And then time and commitment. That's kind of the nice thing about this pre-launch campaign too. Is remember that you're going to get as much out of it as you put into it. But if you string this along for a couple more weeks and you have a full 2-month pre-launch, that's still going to give you enough labor time to to probably get a good sense of traction. So even though those are big challenges for you guys, I really encourage you to go forward with it anyways and see what you can come up with. Okay, so it looks like we've got about 15 questions, and I think I can get through. We can get through these pretty quickly. So Shalini says, if we're manufacturing items in our box, do we need a UPC code for each item in the box? That depends on what type of items you're creating. Probably. Especially if it's food or something like that. I'm not really the best person to ask, but I would assume, Shalini, that you would need to follow the same labeling requirements for your type of item that you would otherwise need to be following. So Jay says, it would be great if there were a chart or blog post that laid out the optimal order shipping calendar, when to open orders, when to order raw goods, when to close ordering, when to ship. Jay, you're absolutely right. That would be sweet. I have something similar. This one right here, go to Subscription School Countdown Calendar, a weekly breakdown of how to launch a subscription business. This is going to give you a bi-week breakdown, week 0, week 1 to 3, week 4, week 5 to 7, week 8. That'll give you specific instructions on what to be doing during your pre-launch. Generally, Jay, I give myself 3 weeks ahead of time to get done with purchasing and ordering all the products for that month's box. So what are your thoughts on Shopify? I don't like Shopify. No, I can't. No, Shopify is good. It's not a bad solution. The thing about Shopify is they're a lot older than Craigjoy, so they have different perks to them. But Craigjoy is built for subscription businesses. Shopify is an e-commerce solution. So if you're looking for an e-commerce solution that has a subscription solution built on top of it, then Shopify might be your way to go. But if you're looking for a subscription business solution that's inherently built for subscription businesses, Craigjoy is the way to go, and Craigjoy also has an e-commerce shop. So it's kind of flipped emphasis. Shopify is not a bad company. If you were to use an alternative, my biggest suggestion would be like a WordPress and Chargeify integration. Jason, thanks so much. I'm glad the site and the message has been useful and interesting for you. Uh, so Wendy says a nonprofit breast cancer foundation. Wendy, let me know if that is a you commented about a nonprofit breast cancer foundation. If that is, oh, I see we've got some other questions from you too down here at the bottom. Um, I'll see if that's connected. Let me know if that was just a comment or maybe it was just your idea. Jason says it's all about recurring revenue. Yes, it is. Court um, said, should you actually have the product or is it just the idea and the contacts? Um, if you're wondering if you have to produce your own products, Court, then no, you don't have to produce your own products. You could buy products from other people and then put them in your box, and you can curate an experience. If I think that's what you're asking. Early on in the pre-launch, you also don't have to you don't have to have all those products ready. It's like, once you validate the idea at the end of your pre-launch campaign, that's really when you're doing your ordering. Jay says, how do you get people to that landing page? Are you a fan of lead magnet campaigns that don't point to this main lead page? Yeah, Jay, if you can do another lead campaign that doesn't hit your landing page but still generates you emails, and those emails are being generated because they're interested in this idea, then absolutely. You don't have to point every single thing to your pre-launch campaign. If you can gather emails another way, maybe doing giveaways with bloggers and they host the giveaway on their own site, that's totally fine. As long as you have access to those emails and as long as those people who are opting into those emails actually want to buy the product. That's the idea, right? And how do you get that people to that landing page? I think that we went over that stuff early on in the webinar. I'm going to pull this back up here. Niche blogger outreach, social influencer outreach, organic methods via social. You can dabble in paid advertising if you like. We've got some good guides too on Subscription School, on Facebook ads. This is a really good one we did. I sat down with an expert of Facebook ads, and we built this article together on how to bring down acquisition costs, how to set up campaigns. So that's something that you can also do. Court says, what web developer does YOGI Surprise use? I do not know. Jay says, I spent $100 buying products and props, $175 for a photo shoot for a box idea that didn't go anywhere. I concur. Keep the landing page simple. Yes, Jay, try to keep it simple, definitely. That's what I did. I bought like, 30, $40 worth of products, and the box idea actually did go somewhere, but I tried to minimize that exposure. I always suggest people don't spend money during these pre-launches just in case it's like not the best product market fit, or if they're kind of rehash it. Just try to avoid coming out of pocket. Obviously, I'm a pretty lean startup type of person. Like I like to just not spend any money. Let's see if we can validate the idea without spending cash. Hoda says, for the pre-launch page, where do you suggest we advertise it? Facebook, Twitter? Which websites are most effective? So I think that was what we kind of just went over in the earlier question. I think that doing niche blogger outreach, social influencers, and organic methods are the best. It also depends on your box. If you are doing like a craft box or like a recipe box or something that's like of that nature, Pinterest might be a lot more effective than Instagram. So do some testing. Make sure you have Google Analytics set up. Look where your traffic's coming from. Look what the traffic's doing. If your traffic's staying on the page for a lot longer because it's from Pinterest, then maybe that's a better source than Twitter or something like that. What people to Harry's landing page? Sorry, I feel like that aspect is meaning what people to Harry's landing page. What put people to, if you're asking me how did Harry's get traffic, I don't know since I wasn't a part of that launch, but check out this. Just Google Tim Ferriss, Harry's, and you'll see here how to gather 100,000 emails in 1 week. This was on Tim Ferriss's blog, and it's a post from Harry's, and it goes over what their strategies were, how they had like this invite a friend or the product thing that was really useful for them. Their referrals were like the #1 source of traffic. So there's a couple cool ideas here. I would suggest check that out. I mean, if I could launch like Harry's, I totally would. They did a much better job. They launched really, really largely, and they did a very good job of that. So if you want to learn more about Harry's, check out how to gather 100,000 emails in 1 week, including successful templates, code, and everything you need. Janine says, can you tell us again the other resources for a pre-launch? Absolutely. First off, like I said, you can go to the search here and you can type in pre-launch at Subscription School, and this is going to give you a list of resources, other people to set it up with: LaunchRock, Instapage, LandRep, Unbounce, Kickoff Labs, Rocket Start. You can do WordPress if you can custom develop a WordPress site. Those are all different resources that you could. I thought Google were penalizing for shoutouts since their recent updates. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with what that's about, Chris. I don't think so. I mean, as long as the content is unique and as long as the content is valuable, Google loves it. There's no reason that they shouldn't like it. You don't want them to just like copy and paste what you sent them and then have 50 bloggers all post the same content. Have them, and they should know that as bloggers. They should know that they need to create unique content. That's kind of like SEO 101. So I guess that might be what your question is kind of directed at. Why not use paid media for a pre-launch, says Victor. You can. You absolutely can. Like I said, it's just about being lean. I just think that being lean is the way to go. Can you please publish a pre-launch checklist? Jay, I love that idea, and I'm going to make a note of it right now. A pre-launch checklist. Ooh, you know what? Didn't I already do that? I've created a launch checklist before, actually. I don't know if it's on our resources page. It's not. I'm going to upload a launch checklist to this resources page here today, and I will send out an update to our Subscription School newsletter, and I'll post it in the Subscription School Facebook group. And I think I've already built what you were asking for, Jane. I'll be sure to share that. Wendy, you're totally welcome. Thanks so much for attending. Court says, during which phase do you start emailing companies for their items? I'm most concerned about getting products for my first box. Absolutely, Court. Court, check out the resources we have here, how to source products, your product sourcing worksheet. I would suggest ordering and having all your ordering done about 4 to 3 weeks or 3 to 4 weeks before you ship your box. That's going to give you enough time for shipping and packing. So the phase during your pre-launch in which you're going to do that is going to be at the end of phase 1, right before you start getting your sales. Before you start collecting that revenue, I would start reaching out to companies and saying, hey, I'm thinking about ordering this many. I need them by this date. Can you do that? And by 1 or 2 weeks into collecting revenue, so now into phase 2, you should start to be able to put those orders in, send people checks, that type of thing. Pre-launch champagne. Scared of someone stealing my idea. Is that an irrational? Oh, campaign. I'm scared of someone stealing my. I read champagne. I'm sorry, Hoda. I don't think you have to worry about someone stealing your idea. There are so many different subscription box ideas out there. This industry, I've been in it since 2011. I have had several competitors who built boxes after I've had boxes about it. The nice thing about subscription boxes, and for all of you here, you are all ahead of the game. There are, thousands of subscription boxes out there right now. And when you think about normal business, there are hundreds of thousands of other businesses that compete with each other. Unilever just bought Dollar Shave Club. The biggest acquisition in our space just happened a couple of weeks ago. This is a for lack of a better word, this is a virgin space. There are very few big companies in this space, and the big companies, Ipsy, Birchbox, Loot Crate, Dollar Shave Club, those are actually still pretty small. They only have 1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million subscribers. That sounds like a lot to us because we're just starting out, but in the grand scheme of things, when we're talking about a country that has 350 million people in it, and we're talking about a world that has 7 billion people, and granted that 5 billion of those people probably wouldn't buy a subscription box because they don't have the means to, you have a lot of market opportunity. I would not be worried about it, Hoda. Get your name, buy your domain, work on your intellectual property, make a beautiful brand, and it's going to sell itself. Don't worry about someone coming up with the same idea or copying you. Chris says, Craigjo doesn't seem to have many resources for the UK. Is that going to change? Yes, it is. We've got some really cool things rolling out for the UK pretty soon. Chris, if there's anything you need specifically, maybe mention in the comments too. I'll bring it up to the team later today in our meeting. Wendy, she says, my question is, since you see so many box ideas, we are ready to go and have worked on several months, seeing some competition that has similar feel. Any advice? Same thing that I just mentioned to Hoda. I would suggest making your product as best you can. Don't pay attention to other people. Don't price your box based on other people's prices. Develop a cohesive product offering that is interesting to you and interesting to your audience. test that idea and go forward with it. Even if you end up with only 500 subscribers, Wendy, or 1,000 subscribers after your first year, it can still be a very lucrative business. Right now, Proshfully only ships between 300 to 500 boxes a month, and that pays for a couple employees. It allows those people to have that as their job, working with their friends and family versus having some other job. It can still be a very, very rewarding experience, even if you don't have 250,000 subscribers. What are some ideas on handling a subscription box in which the cost would change each month? One big item versus varying costs. That's a great question, John. What I would suggest you do is this. I would suggest you plan out 3 or 4 months worth of boxes. You look at the cost of goods for each one of those months of boxes. You see what it's going to be. Look at the value of those boxes. Are they going to be roughly the same value to a consumer? If so, average out those costs and come up with an average cost. So if it looks like it's going to be usually about $35 of box value for subscribers, and it looks like it's going to cost you between $5 and $15 for products, even though the value for subscribers is roughly the same. I would say, come up with a general price that'll cover the cost of goods for the expensive months and leave you more margin for the cheaper months. And there's some other ways to do that. You can maybe have subscribers opt in at different times. You can make it really easy for them to pause into their subscription off. So maybe 1 month when it's more expensive, they can turn it off, or if it's a really cool idea, they can turn it on. There's not a lot of easy ways to do that if you have varying products each month, like vastly varying different products each month. But those are some potential solutions. I think that averaging those things out might be one of the easier ways to do it. Shalene says, we chose WooCommerce because we want our customers to be able to customize their boxes. Can Craigslist do this? Yeah, Shalene, you can. And the only solution that I will not recommend to people is the WooCommerce plugin. I have never used it myself, so I'm speaking out of a little bit of ignorance here. But I've chatted with hundreds of subscription business owners, and a bunch of them have used the WooCommerce plugin, and every single one of them today have migrated away from it because of the problems that they've been giving. I think that using Craigslist is going to be the easiest solution for you, and it's easy to migrate away from Craigslist if for whatever reason you want to do that. But with Craigslist, you can collect survey data during checkout. You can have different products. You can have variations of those products. There's a lot of different things that you can do to customize boxes. And so there are different solutions there depending on what you mean by customize. Is it hard to switch from an e-commerce platform to Craigslist, or how hard is it? Vanessa, if you've got an awesome e-commerce platform, what I would suggest doing is emailing support@craigslist.com, and what we can do is we can help you create a unique checkout for your subscription offering, and you can host your e-commerce platform still on Magento or whatever it is you're using, and just have a unique checkout for subscriptions that's hosted in it's going to be a different database. But it'll be probably easier than trying to migrate an entire site. I don't think it'd be very easy to migrate a whole e-commerce business, especially if you've got like hundreds of items. But there are ways that Craigslist can provide the subscription rebilling feature for you without having to, migrate your entire site over. Winnie says, that's just a comment about the earlier thing. Okay, we'll move on from that. Jason says, do you have any resources about creating or running a subscription program that doesn't use Craigslist, meaning you have a product that we have to fulfill here through our own manufacturing location? Fulfillment is my need, and how to run it. I'm not positive I can run it this way, as it's a heavy product. It sells by the pound, but has twice the margins. I guess I'd wonder why that doesn't apply to Craigslist, because you can use Craigslist and then use another shipping option, Jason. So at the bare bones, Craigslist is a subscription rebilling platform. So you can have subscribers and you can set them on they're rebilling on the last day of the month or whatever day of the month you want, and put the people in that program, and then you can use a different shipping program like ShipStation or Pirate Ship or Stamps.com or whatever it is you want to use if you have some type of really strange or unique shipping things. So you could still use Craigslist for rebilling and not ever use their shipping, not ever use their e-commerce store. You could just use it for its fundamental core competency if you need it. So I hope that explains it. Like I said, my next thing I would suggest, if you weren't to use Craigslist because you can't for some reason, would be a Chartify WordPress integration. Chris says, and this is a great mantra, remember KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. No, really, keep it simple. The more simple your pre-launch page is, the more simple your business is, especially during the launch, the greater your conversion rates are going to be. So, Chris, that's a great point to make. Any specific recommendation for pet boxes? Yeah, Jadine, I would say, think about how you want to separate them. BarkBox has small dogs, medium-sized dogs, large dogs. Think about how you want to approach it, what kind of animals you're going to be doing for your pet boxes. Honestly, what Chris just said actually is still pointing here. Keep it simple. What's the simplest way you can create a cool product offering for pet boxes? Chris says, where do you find influencers other than Pinterest or Twitter? My favorite is Instagram. Outside of that, I use a lot of bloggers. So search for different blogs. Look who's blogging about certain types of topics, and reach out to those people. You can also always use an agency like Tap Influence or Rev Influence, and that's one of the easiest ways to find influencers. They cost money, obviously, but besides that, just kind of trolling around the internet. I should maybe not trolling, but crawling around the internet, finding people that I think that'll be a good way to find them. Court said, for your first box, did you have extra products left over or not enough products? Yeah, I did have extra products, and in fact, every single month I have extra products. I use those extra products to send to influencers. So you have to make an assumption about 2 or 3 weeks before you order products about what your subscriber amount's going to be. Like I said, I always order a little bit over to be safe. But that's something that you kind of have to estimate each month. It's part of the game, for running these types of businesses. Look at your average daily growth. If you have 1 subscriber per day in the last 30 days, I think it's reasonable for you to expect 30 subscribers in the next 30 days. Harish says, do we have to let the pre-subscribers get to know all the product images inside the box or just sneak peek at the products that will be featured? I think just a sneak peek is fine. You don't even have to do a sneak peek if you don't want to, Harish. Dorothy says, do you have any experiences or resources making all your own products in the box? Dorothy, I don't, but I use a lot of Etsy vendors. You can totally do that. It depends on what type of products that you're trying to produce. That's one of the best ways. I think there should be more handmade boxes, people who make their own products. I think it's a great idea, Dorothy. Teresa says, I'm in the UK. Do you have any resources around packaging and shipping for us? I don't. Oh, sorry, Teresa. Go to the subscription school group, post a comment in there that says, hey, I'm in the UK. Who do you use for fulfillment? Who do you use for packing? There's a couple people who have done some chats in there about that. There's a couple people in the UK, and even all around Europe who are in that group, and that's a great resource. It's on my to-do list to build out those resources for you guys. I'm just trying to get a little bit better versed at it before I start to tell people what to do. Chris says packaging, design, fulfillment houses, that sort of thing, wholesale lists. Chris, I think these are questions. Let me know what you mean by those things. How much do you think I should invest in branding? Samantha, I think it depends. I mean, I would try to get the brand looking as great as you can. But like I said, look at these things. These are not crazy brands. These are not completely built websites. All of these, Harry's, Prosperly, and Yogi Surprise, all of these are type-faced brands. Like there's not a lot of branding on here. So for a pre-launch, I wouldn't suggest investing like thousands of dollars. Is it best to do all the legal stuff before you even start? Wendy, I lean test my ideas and then I incorporate. And before I send out a product, then I get insurance, stuff like that. Victor, you're welcome. I'm really glad that you enjoyed this. So can you not use Craigio in the UK? Yeah, no, Kimberly, you can totally use Craigio in the UK. We just have fewer resources. There's no subscription expert here at Craigio that does UK. I like I said, I don't have as many fulfillment suggestions for you. I don't have as many options, shipping options for you that I can suggest. But Craigio does work for the UK, absolutely. Joshua says, is it easy to pause subscriptions in Craigio? Yeah, absolutely. It's super easy to do that. It's easy for people to turn their subscriptions on and off, and you as an admin on the account can turn them off for them too. So Jason says, okay, so I can run the back through, or the back office through Craigio and ship here. Yeah, you can totally do that. You can use for shipping, if it's like I said, if it's unique shipping stuff, you can use Pirate Ship, just like a pirate ship. Yar Hades. Okay, I'll stop doing that. Or you can use ShipStation or Stamp.com or any other solution you want. You download your orders from Craigio and you upload those orders into whatever shipping platform you want. Absolutely. We don't. Craigio is really cool because I don't they don't make it difficult for you to find the best solution for yourself, which is one of the reasons why I like working with them. Tamika says, is there a way to view the webinar from the beginning if I came in late? Yeah, this whole thing's been recorded and it will be live in a couple days on the Subscription School website in the video section. Okay. Oh, Chris says he might have some resources regarding the UK. Chris, if you want to post in the Subscription School Facebook group and say, hey, I was in the group, or I was in the webinar, here's some of the UK resources, please feel free to do that. I can't see people's emails and contacts, and I can't share that information if I did see it. So I can't refer you guys together, but feel free to post it like, hey, I was in the webinar, and here are some resources for the UK. And thanks a lot for doing that, Chris. I really appreciate that. Maybe, Chris, you can email me, jesse@createjoy.com, and maybe we can even chat about those resources. And if you've got some suggestions for me, I can upload those to the Subscription School site, and we can do that. Awesome, thank you, Chris. Okay, so we have 3 questions left, and then we're going to cut it. We're like 20 minutes over. I'm so sorry. Lauren says, I'm going to the handmade product route. I think it's really important to support small business. Lauren, absolutely. I totally think that too. Prosperly I built this business for small businesses. I love working with small businesses and handmade artisans. I think it's an awesome way to get your product produced each month in large quantities and get them in the hands of qualified customers. I think if you do a subscription business around your handmade products, it'd be very successful. Early says, where can we find the examples of pre-launch templates? Earl, download the PDF and then go to Webinar Control Panel on the right-hand side, and these 3 are in the PDF. They're slides 8, 9, and 10, and you can also find examples on subscriptionschool.com. Hoda says, should I copyright my logo for the pre-launch or worry about that later? Hoda, I would just worry about that later. I wouldn't worry about, copyrights are like $350 per application. You need to pay some attorney $500 per hour to overlook it for you. Once your idea is validated, if you have a good idea, then worry about protecting your intellectual property. And like I said, if you buy your domain ahead of time, I don't think there's lots of trolls out there that are going to try to steal your ideas. So, all right, that's it. That's all we got for today. Thank you guys so much for all the questions and for attending. I hope this wasn't too rushed. I hope it was useful for you guys. Thank you for everybody who's been giving each other advice and offering advice to other people. I really hope this was useful. I hope to see you guys all in the Subscription School Facebook group. When you guys leave, you will have a exit survey. Let me know how I did. Let me know what you guys want to learn about next. And tomorrow and the next day, if you want to hear my voice for even more, we've got 2 more webinars this week. One of them is about the marketplace at CreateJoy. One of them is about shipping. And then next week, we're talking about subscriber churn, how to keep subscribers happy. So you guys are invited to all that. Again, they're free. And I might have some special guests this week too with these other webinars. So feel free to jump in. Thanks again. I look forward to chatting with all of you guys, and I'll see you later. Have an awesome Tuesday. Okay, bye.